Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Turtley Bones and today we're going to be talking about a heavy topic, which is grooming behavior. Specifically, we're going to be looking at how some of Colleen Ballinger's behaviors fits the pattern of grooming which is outlined by the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, or RAIN. Now, if it seems like I'm looking off screen and reading a script, it's because I am. I wanted to make sure that I got all of my information right, and just doing it off the top of my head was not something that I was comfortable with. So I did write out a script of things to say. So that's why if you see me looking off to the side, I'm just reading my script and making sure that I hit every point that I thought was important. So let's dive in. Colleen Ballinger has been on YouTube for over a decade. She's a popular YouTuber with her vlog channel having over 3 million subscribers, and her Miranda Sings character's YouTube channel has over 10 million subscribers. Her character Miranda Sings is problematic in itself, with inappropriate jokes being made with and about minors in front of live audiences and recorded for the world to see, not to mention some of the jokes she makes in her Netflix show, Haters Back Off. Lately, Colleen has been in the center of numerous allegations for the last 3 months, some of which are grooming behaviors, the glorification of underage bodies, body checking and body shaming, inappropriate and private conversations with minors, distributing pornography to minors, exploitation of fans for free labors, trauma dumping to minors, and charity fraud. We're only going to be looking at some of these behaviors today because not all of them are something. I wanted to keep this video as concise and clear as possible. So we're just going to be looking at how some of those allegations fit into grooming behavior and how some of her behavior also fits into grooming. So according to RAIN, grooming is manipulative behaviors that the abuser uses to gain access to potential victims, coerce them to agree to the abuse, and reduce the risk of being caught. While these tactics are used most often against younger kids, teens and vulnerable adults are also at risk. There are a variety of forms that abuse can take. We have the most talked about ones, which are neglect, physical abuse, and sexual abuse. Other forms that abuse can take, such as emotional abuse, when someone says or does something to make a person feel stupid or worthless. Psychological abuse, when a person uses threats and causes fear in an individual to gain control. Spiritual abuse, when an individual's spiritual beliefs are used to manipulate, dominate, or control them. Cultural abuse, when an individual is harmed as a result of practices that are part of their culture, religion, or traditions. Verbal, when either spoken or written language is used to harm an individual. And finally, financial, when someone controls an individual's financial resources without the person's consent or misuses these resources. Now that we've gone over what grooming is and the potential types of abuse a person can experience, let's really dive into today's topic. The pattern of grooming, according to RAIN, goes in 5 steps, or 5, not really steps, but 5 categories. There's victim selection, where abusers often observe possible victims and select them based on ease of access to them or their perceived vulnerability. 2, gaining access and isolating victims, which is when abusers attempt to physically or emotionally separate a victim from those protecting them and often seek out positions in which they have contact with minors. Trust development and keeping secrets. Abusers attempt to gain the trust of a potential victim through gifts, attention, sharing secrets, and other means to make them feel that they have a caring relationship and to train them to keep the relationship secret. Desensitization to touch and discussion of sexual topics. Abusers will often start to touch a victim in ways that appear harmless, such as hugging, wrestling, and tickling, and later escalate to increasingly more sexual contact, such as massages or showering together. Abusers may also show the victim pornography or discuss sexual topics with them to introduce the idea of sexual contact. And finally, attempts by abusers to make their behavior seem normal and natural. To avoid raising suspicion is the entire purpose of this. They make the relationship seem normal and like nothing is wrong, and nothing weird is going on, and that nothing is wrong, so that you think it's normal and that everything's okay, so that you don't talk to your parents or whoever you would talk to in that situation. This includes secrecy, undue influence or control, and pushes of personal boundaries. So let's look at the first category, which is victim selection. We have 5 people that have spoken out. All of them are in their 20s now, but all of them became fans of Miranda Sings. So we have Adam McIntyre became a fan at age 9 and became friends with Colleen at about 11 to 12, and that continued until he was about 16 or 17. Becky became a fan at age 12. Between the ages of 14 and 16, she was a member of the Weenies group chat, which is a private group chat that had about 23 people in it, and some of those people were adults, but all of them were participating in the inappropriate behavior. At age 16, Becky was invited to do the yoga challenge at one of Miranda Sings' live shows, which left her feeling vulnerable and violated. We have Alex, who became a fan at age 12. They were body shamed at age 16 when they went to a meet and greet before a Miranda Sings show, and was also a member of private group chats with Colleen. And then we have Oliver and Ella, who I don't have that much information on, but they were also loyal fans of Miranda Sings, and they were also children when this happened. Gaining access and isolating victims is number 2. So we have the exclusive Weenie group chat, which I mentioned earlier, which had about 23 users in it. I believe like 3 or 4 of them were adults, and the rest of them were children between the ages of 12 and 16. We have private direct messages through Twitter and Snapchat for conversations with different fans. This was a way for her to kind of isolate them even further from the Weenies group chat and have inappropriate conversations with them. She would reward superfans with private meet and greets, such as with Adam McIntyre. She had scheduled a lunch and a day going to the Wax Museum with him in Dublin. I believe it was Dublin. But ended up canceling at the last minute so that he didn't really get to spend any time with her. But she made sure that his parents weren't going to be attending. Keep in mind, he was a child at this point. He was in his teenage years. We have promises of private meetings for members of group chats. Once again. Trust development and keeping secrets. Adam, Becky, Oliver, and Ella were all fans of her character Miranda Sings. So that automatically creates a power imbalance because you have fan and then you have idol. So they're already predisposed to want to do what she says to make her happy so that they can get attention from her. We had the direct private communications where she would confide about her personal life and she would trauma dump. She would also send nude images of Trisha Paytas to some. One of the individuals she did send them to was Adam McIntyre. Things said in the Weenies group chat were not to be shared with other people outside the group. She would use phrasing such as, "I'm confiding in you, don't tell anyone." She would love bomb select fans, and love bombing is a tactic to which someone bombs an individual with extreme displays of attention and affection with the intent to manipulate them. So love bombing would be giving access to private DMs one-on-one, or giving access to her Twitter account to Adam because, you know, she thought he could really do something. And that actually falls into the exploitation of her fans, because she would have fans make stuff all the time or do things for her, and she wouldn't pay them unless she liked the way the trial run went, and then would hire them through her company. Now, I don't have a whole lot of information on that, but there's still a lot of things that are out there that are just allegations with little proof, and then there are some of these things that have evidence to back them up. Desensitization to touch and discussion of sexual topics. Touch doesn't really apply here for the most part, because most of the interactions Colleen had with her fans and with her victims was online. But when she did meet them in person, she would hug them, she would be affectionate towards them in a physical manner. So Colleen would vent to children about her divorce. She encouraged her younger audience to dress in skimpy clothing so that they might be invited up on stage. When Adam was 15 and a budding YouTuber himself, he was looking for questions for a Q&A, and the group chat contributed such questions as, are you a virgin, and what is your favorite sexual position? She would direct message Adam about her sex life with her new boyfriend. Once again, we have sending Trisha Paytas' nudes to Adam, who was a minor. We also have the tampon challenge that she did, which involved putting a tampon in your mouth and like moving it around in a specific manner just to please her and make her happy. And then finally, we have attempts by abusers to make their behavior seem natural and normal. And I have a specific example where she sent lingerie to a 13-year-old Adam. 13. He was 13 years old when he received lingerie from a woman who is close to 30. And her trying to make it seem like it was no big deal, she used the phrase, I've always sent weird things to my fans. Some examples she gave were bobby pins, dirty shoes, and a piece of toilet paper. In her 2020 apology video, she included snips from a live stream that she was giving the panties away, and she made it seem like Adam was hounding her for the set, when in reality she was bothering him to see if he wanted it. And in the actual live stream, she acknowledged how his parents would not be happy about Adam receiving lingerie from a 30-year-old woman. She normalized minors talking about dildos and other sexual topics through these group chats. And once again, we have the tampon challenge, where you would put a tampon in your mouth and then encourage members of the group chat to do the same. And they actually have a group photo of all of them with tampons in their mouth. And that was just normalizing another set of problematic behavior. She would also encourage her female fans in these private group chats to share intense details about their first period. And she started by giving her experience of what having her first period was like. And then that encouraged others to talk about it, thinking that it was safe and normal to talk about these things in such graphic detail. In my opinion, Colleen Ballinger is a grooming. A lot of her behaviors that I've outlined here are just a small portion of the allegations that are against her. She's not come out with a statement since her poorly received ukulele video a couple of months ago. In that video, she does admit to a variety of allegations, such as being in group chats with minors. I know this is a heavier topic, but I do hope that you found some level of understanding of abuse and grooming. And I hope to provide a new perspective to some of the allegations against Colleen and how her behavior lines up with the pattern of grooming that Rain has outlined. I hope the next video will be more positive. Have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. And finally, the last thing I'd like to say is, if you have the opportunity and you have the time, I do highly recommend that you watch some of Adam McIntyre's videos on this. He he talks a lot about his experience, and I never want to take a story away from somebody else. It's his story to tell, which is why I limited the amount of details that I did, because it's not my place to share those things. Finally, the last thing I want to say is Swoop does a fantastic documentary series on it, and she even has a multi-hour long interview with Colleen Ballinger's ex-husband that is absolutely riveting and something that you should check out if you want to know more about this story. So once again, hopefully we'll be back to something a little bit more positive. And that's it. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.